Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. I'm over on the Brutus Monroe blog today, and I am making these cards, two cards, and I wanted to try something different using two different embossing powders on one stamp set. So I am going to use the Succulent border stamp set, and I'm lining up my cardstock, which this is lunchbag cardstock. I'm lining that all up into my Misti, and then I'm going to close the door of the Misti to pick up the stamp, and then I'm going to end up putting some washi tape, just some low tack tape, on the back of that lunch bag cardstock so that I can, if I have to restamp, it'll stay put. Because I plan to use embossing powder, I am rubbing my magic powder bag all over that cardstock, and then I'm going to ink up my stamp using embossing ink. Stamp that or ink that up really liberally, and then I'm going to stamp that down. To make it a little easier, I am going to grab a cloth so that way I can move my fingers across that Misti door a little bit easier. I noticed there are some spots that I missed, so I'll ink up my stamp again. And that's the beauty of keeping that tacked down using just some washi tape or something, because the paper will stay where it's supposed to. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to use the Wicked embossing powder. Now this is the embossing powder of the month for this month. It's only available for a little bit longer unless they decide to keep it in the store. So it is by subscription right now, but I've put that all over that background, and it is so pretty. It looks kind of, once it's heated, it looks a little bit more olive, but oh goodness, with this stamp set in particular, it is just so pretty. And so I can keep heating that, and because it changes color, you'll be able to tell if you've melted all of your embossing powder, and then it'll have a shiny coat to it, which is nice as well. And when I'm all done with that, I'm going to get ready to start stamping the next one. So now I just have some green cardstock that I had in my stash. I'm going to once again do the same steps, ink up that stamp using the embossing ink, and I've taped down my paper, and then I'll close the door of the Misti, and then let's see if we got it all stamped correctly. And then now we're going to use some Gilded embossing powder. This is a gold embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and it doesn't look like much right now, but we're just sprinkling that all over, making sure that we coated the succulents. And then once again, we're going to heat that till that is smooth and melted. And there is something so satisfying about watching embossing powder melt. I feel like it's, I don't know if you guys are on Snapchat at all. I'm only on because my kids are. But there's this oddly satisfying, and I feel like this could be a whole episode all in itself, watching embossing powder melt. So I love how that looks. They're two, using the same stamp set, you get two, not completely different looks, but it's a different look. I like the gold on the green, and I like the green on the lunch bag. To kind of bring that out a little bit, I am grabbing some Forest Moss Distress ink along with a mini ink blending tool, and I'm just going to blend that all along those edges. It'll kind of give it a little bit of a border, and it'll make that pop just a little bit more. And the more I do it, the more I like it. So I decided to do it on the lunch bag as well. Just kind of bringing that color out more into the center and just loving how that's looking. So then, like I said, I'll grab it and I will do the same thing on the lunch bag cardstock. Not being as dark with that one, but I really like how that looks too, because I was afraid that maybe the distress ink would kind of dull the look of the embossing powder, and I didn't want that. For my sentiment, I am grabbing the extra Sentimental stamp set. That one came in the inspiration box this month, and I'm going to ink that up with some Raven Detail ink. I thought about doing more, like maybe popping it up somehow, but I just thought this is a simple card, and this would be a beautiful birthday card. And so I'm just going to stamp that down a couple times, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the green one. So I'll put that into my Misti, ink up my stamp once again, and stamp that down. And I think that looks good. Like I said, it's kind of a simple card, so we'll just go with that. The card bases that I'm using, so I'm going opposite. I'm using lunch bag for my green panel, and then I'm going to use that green cardstock from my stash for the lunch bag panel. And I'm just scoring those at 4 1/4. These are going to be top folding A2 size cards. And I'm going to cover the entire backs with some Brutus Monroe foam tape. Just cutting that down, and I'm going to do the entire back. People have said they have had a little bit of issue with this stuff sticking to their scissors, but I haven't had any problem. And then I just peel off all the release paper using my paper piercer, and I don't have any problem with that either. And this stuff is great. So then I'll just stick both of those down onto their card bases. And then for a final bit of embellishment, I did grab some, these are Studio Cadia Fruit Punch sequins. I couldn't find these anywhere, but this is what I had in my stash. And I'm actually going to stick these down using my Crystal Katana and some White Blizzard Nuvo glitter drops. I thought that would be fun and it would add a touch of glitter. And then I also decided to go in and put a few dots other places, and I also end up putting it in the centers of those sequins as well. So I add a little bit extra into the centers of the sequins, and they look kind of cloudy right now, but in the pictures you'll tell it's nice and clear with some glitter, and it's so pretty. So like I said, I'm over on the Brutus Monroe blog. If you'd like to go head on over and check that out, I'll have a link down below along with all the products that I use. They'll be down in my description box down below. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by.